Hello everyone, welcome to our news channel. Here you are always well informed. I ask you to subscribe, leave your like and thank you very much. With his plethora of Motown hits for the Miracles, himself and others, William "Smokey" Robinson has given us a lot of musical joy over the years. Now he's giving us Gasms. And you read that right. Gasms, out on Friday, July 28th, is the first new solo album in nearly a decade from one of America's greatest living musical poets. It finds the 83-year-old Robinson, pen in hand, rhapsodizing about love and life, the muses that have made him such an accomplished triple threat, performer, writing, producer, and a prolific hitmaker throughout his 65-year career. He wrote 6 of the 9 tracks and produced or co-produced them all, working with collaborators both familiar and fresh and finding some new sounds in the process. But when he starts singing, there's no question who that high tenor is coming from. Gasms comes as part of a significant year for Robinson. It's 65 years since he and the Miracles charted with "Got a Job," while earlier this year he and Motown founder Berry Gordy Jr. added to their myriad honors with as Musicaire's Persons of the Year during Grammy Week in Los Angeles. And Robinson joined Stevie Wonder on stage to celebrate with a rendition of "Tears of a Clown." Also on his docket these days are a biopic, whose script has been finished, and a stage musical that he's been pitched. And with those and a new album, Robinson assures us via Zoom from his home in Los Angeles that an abundant career legacy doesn't mean he's in cruisin control yet. Gasms. Robinson laughs, "That's right, and I did that to make it controversial." Many people, as they found out what the title is, they've been asking me what it is. I want people to hear it. You gotta get it. You gotta listen to it to see what Gasms is. All the songs have a connotation to them. You gotta hear it, man. Having heard it, then, it seems like you're singing about life's joys, of all kinds. Robinson, absolutely. It's good that you know that, man, 'cause that's exactly what it is. A gasm is a joy. It's something that makes you feel good, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. I want people to put gasms on and make love, but it's not just about that. Where did these songs come from? Robinson, they were recorded over various periods of time. I've been working on this for a while. I write all the time. A couple of the songs I've had for a while. There's a song called "I Keep Calling You," and I've had that song for 20 years, and I just went back because I always liked it. It was bluesy, and at the time I wrote it I was planning on putting it on an album, but I didn't, so when I was doing this particular album I just wanted to get songs that I thought would fit that mold and fit that mood, and that was one of them. You cover the flamingos beside you here. That's an interesting choice. Robinson, I first heard it when I was 12 years old. There was a corner confectionery, a little drug store on the corner of the street I lived on, and it had a jukebox. A young lady who came from Chicago, where the flamingos were from, played it for me, and I always loved that song. And Aretha Franklin was there, too. My regret about this particular recording is that she never got to hear it. I recorded it before she passed, it just wasn't finished. Then she got sick, so I never got a chance to let her hear it. I wanted Aretha to hear it so badly because we've been loving that song since we were kids. You've covered a lot of ground since "Got a Job" was a hit back in 1958. Where do you think Gasms fits in the spectrum of your career? Robinson, well, it's just what I'm doing today, man. I'm not a retro kind of person. I'm retro in the fact I wanted, the album, to have some of that old feeling to it, but as far as comparing it and going back and trying to outdo something I've already done, I don't do that. More than likely when you try to do that you're not going to accomplish it, anyway. I'm not trying to outdo cruisin. I'm trying to make some new music that people will love and accept just like those old songs. I'm always trying to think ahead and think of the future. You've been doing this, as we've noted, for quite some time. Does it feel like almost 70 years? Robinson, yeah, it feels like that, but then it also feels like overnight. If I look back on it and I think about all the things I can remember that have gone on, it seems like forever. But talking about it now, it seems like it was overnight. My dad used to tell me, boy, time is flying. Oh Dad, please, but he was right. Laughs. Have some of the things that have been successful over the years surprised you? Robinson, a lot of them have, man. I think probably as a songwriter my international anthem is, My Girl. When I wrote, My Girl, I was writing it because I loved David Ruffin's voice, and I loved the Temptations. I went to high school with Otis, Williams, and Melvin, Franklin, not the same school but at the same time, and our schools were rivals. So, I wrote it because I wanted to hear David Ruffin sing something sweet, and I recorded it on them. And at the time if you produced a #1 record at Motown you got a $1,000 bonus. After I recorded the song, The Miracles, and I went out on the road for 2-3 weeks. We came back and Barry calls me into his office and says, Hey man, here's your check. I said, check for what? He says, for producing a #1 record, and I'm thinking it was something with The Miracles and me, but we didn't have a record out. Gordy says, no. My Girl is going #1, so here's your check. I didn't expect that for My Girl, for The Tracks of My Tears, for any of them, man. Speaking of Barry, you guys had quite a time for Musicares this year. Robinson, oh, yeah, it was very nice. For Barry and I to get that award together was one of the highlights of my life. First of all, it was the first time Musicares had given a dual award like that, so I jumped at the chance. He's my best friend, and he deserves every award there could possibly be, as far as I'm concerned. It was a wonderful night. There are increasingly fewer of you around from the classic years of Motown. Does that provide a charge, too, to keep going? Robinson, no, man. My drive just comes, 'cause that's what I want to do. That's my drive for my life. But, yeah, it's a sad thing. It's something we all know is going to happen, but when you see your brothers and sisters dying, that's the last thing you think about when you're kids and hanging around with each other and being at Motown. You don't think anybody dying. When Tammy Terrell died, in 1970, it was like, wow, gosh, people can actually die. It's always a shock to your system, and we've lost some powerhouses, man. When I go back to Hitsville in Detroit and I look at all the pictures that are there, 80% of those people are gone. So that's a sobering thought, but it's something we have to roll with. What are you hearing that you like these days? Robinson, oh, I like a lot of people, man. I listen to everybody. I love Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, Beyoncé. I've been hearing new music by Eric Benet. You've got a lot of young people making some good music now. Music is kind of reverting back to stories and stuff like that. For a while some of the music got to just be profanity, but now it's kind of subsiding and it's coming back to people making music that's musical, that most people can enjoy. I think the music is really in good hands.